For 5 years, the most famous photograph of the Backrooms had no location, no photographer, and no history anyone could verify. It was just a fluorescent room with yellow walls, damp-looking carpet, and an angle that made the space feel larger than it should. Then, in May 2024, searchers found the original image inside a 2003 Wayback Machine snapshot for a hobby store in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. The room was not an abandoned office maze. It was part of a former furniture store being renovated into an indoor radio-controlled car track. The photograph itself was taken on June 12, 2002. The webpage went online the following year. The location had been archived for 2 decades before anybody knew it was important. The internet did not preserve the Backrooms. It preserved a mundane construction update that later turned out to contain the doorway into an entire genre of horror. The caption described accidentally slipping out of reality into endless empty rooms with buzzing lights and millions of square miles of stained carpet. The photograph did most of the work. It looked too ordinary to be a movie set and too wrong to be a normal room. Because the post supplied no source, the missing origin became part of the atmosphere. Every repost stripped away a little more context while adding lore. Games, videos, wikis, and fan projects expanded the space until the original picture functioned like a founding document. But nobody could answer the basic question: where did this image come from before it became the Backrooms? The obvious tools struggled because the image was already too famous. Reverse image search returned thousands of descendants: memes, thumbnails, game textures, articles, and altered versions. The original file was buried beneath its own cultural footprint. Visual details did not narrow the field much either. Drop ceilings, fluorescent panels, wallpaper, and commercial carpet existed in countless offices and retail spaces. Searchers tried hotels, empty malls, schools, studios, and digital renders. Each theory could explain one feature, but none came with a page, date, or related photographs. The search had to move away from what kind of room is this, and toward what kind of old web page would have posted this room. That shift turned an image hunt into web archaeology. The eventual identification was not one person making a lucky guess. Searchers shared possible matches, rejected false leads, compared file histories, and checked whether each claim explained more than the wallpaper. That collaborative skepticism mattered because the image invited confident speculation. A convincing answer needed the original page, related photographs, a plausible building history, and dates earlier than the 2019 post. The HobbyTown page satisfied all of those conditions at once. It did not merely resemble the room, it placed the exact image inside a documented sequence. That is the difference between a theory and provenance. The successful trail led to an archived page for HobbyTown USA in Oshkosh. The page documented work on something called Revolution Raceway. Its language was practical. The building had been a furniture store, areas were being cleared, and water damage had affected parts of the space. Among the renovation photographs was the image, not a compressed repost, not a crop. Suddenly, details that had looked supernatural became construction details. The odd partitions were remnants of an old layout, the patchy carpet belonged to a building in transition. The fluorescent ceiling continued beyond the frame because this had been a large commercial interior. Context did not merely identify the place, it explained the visual grammar that made the photograph feel impossible. The recovered file and page supplied a chronology. The photograph was dated June 12, 2002. The archived webpage was captured in 2003. The 4chan post came in 2019. That 17-year gap matters because it rules out the idea that the room was created for the meme. The picture had an ordinary life first. It documented a renovation, sat on a local business website, and then became detached from that purpose. At some point, somebody copied it without the page. Once the caption disappeared, the empty room was free to acquire a new story. The Wayback snapshot restored the first one. Researchers and visitors traced the building to the Oshkosh property and compared surviving architectural details. The structure remained, but the exact Backrooms interior had been remodeled long ago. That creates a peculiar kind of verification. You can visit the address, stand near the place, and confirm the building, but you cannot simply walk into the yellow room and recreate the shot. The photograph now outlives the configuration it recorded. In a way, that explains why it worked so well as horror. Even before it became fictional, the room was temporary. It captured a commercial space between identities, no longer a furniture showroom, not yet the hobby store raceway it was becoming. The Wayback Machine did not archive the page because it predicted a future internet mystery. It crawled a small business website. That is exactly what makes the recovery powerful. Archives preserve material before culture decides which details matter. In 2003, the important information on the page was the progress of a local renovation. In 2024, one JPEG had become the origin point for a global visual myth. A curated archive might have saved the company homepage and ignored the construction gallery. A broad crawler kept the unglamorous page too. The Backrooms search demonstrates why that breadth matters. We cannot preserve only answers to questions we already know how to ask. The related renovation photographs were crucial. They showed adjacent areas, ceiling grids, columns, and unfinished surfaces from the same property. Researchers could compare those details with the famous frame and with the surviving building. The sequence also explains why the Backrooms image has such strange depth. The camera was looking across a partially opened commercial floor, with remnants of partitions interrupting the view. The unsettling geometry was not a visual effect. It was a stage of demolition. Some people worried that locating the photograph would ruin it. The opposite happened. The factual story is almost as strange as the fictional one. A renovation photo from Wisconsin, detached from a hobby store page, resurfaced on an anonymous board and became the visual seed for films, games, and millions of imagined rooms. Knowing the location changes the fear, but it does not erase it. The image still looks wrong because the composition is genuinely disorienting. The fluorescent sameness is real. What disappears is the claim that the picture came from nowhere. In its place, we get a better story about how ordinary media loses its labels and becomes available for myth. Identifying the source also complicated the image's reuse. For years, creators treated the picture as an anonymous internet artifact. Once the original page and business context were known, questions about authorship, licensing, and attribution became harder to ignore. Public access does not mean public domain. An archived copy proves that a file existed at a URL. It does not automatically grant every commercial use. The Wikimedia Commons record and reporting around the discovery document the provenance discussion, but anyone using the image still has to evaluate the applicable rights and platform rules. That is not a footnote to the search. It is part of what happens when a meme regains a history. The Backrooms photograph was not found by identifying a monster or decoding hidden text. It was found by rebuilding the page around an image. The final answer was a dated renovation gallery for a radio-controlled car track in a former furniture store. That answer sounds disappointingly normal until you remember the timeline. The archive held the page for 21 years. The picture became famous for 5 of them. Searchers had to work backward through thousands of copies to reach one old business update. At the end of an internet maze built from endless rooms, the exit was a Wayback URL with a clumsy file name. The room had always had an address. The web had simply forgotten how to point to it. The answer was specific enough to be checked by anyone with the archived page.